Oh.
Good, you gotta keep your paper there.
Get down low, yes. Well, tell me, the film relies heavily on visual aspects and the little CGI work here and there. So what was it like, I guess, reading the script and you're having to visually kind of picture all this happening? What was that like, your first reaction?
Well, we had read the books first, so that was really helpful. I mean, I think we were all really aware of what that world looked like, at least in our minds, you know, before we read the script. So the script was, it was kind of a difficult read because there was so much going on and so much to process, but it was really helpful to have read the books beforehand so that going into it, you already knew the characters, you already kind of had a vision in your head of what things looked like. And then furthering that, having Edgar Wright showing us test footage and you know, giving us all his ideas of how things were going to go, it helped us kind of create that world in our minds, for sure.
Tell me, you play a character who has a lot of exes and everybody wants you back to an extent, and then Scott's fighting over you for your love, basically.
Yeah.
What makes her so special?
They're basically just bitter because she dumped them and she kind of left them brokenhearted. So I think for some of them it's almost not so much that they want her back, but they just don't want her to be happy, you know, because she made them unhappy, and so they want to kind of get revenge on her by making sure that, you know, she's not going to be happy with this guy. And so I think it's just kind of like, and it's the way Scott sees them as well, you know. Any new boyfriend is going to see all the exes as, oh, those guys are evil, you know, like all the guys that you've dated in the past are totally evil. So it's interesting, the kind of different perspectives that are played on in the movie, and you know, you can look at it from Scott's point of view.
Your scene with the as the ex was one of my favorites, just because it was so quick and so over the top and just really exaggerated. How much improv were you, or freedom were you given during that scene to just kind of go with the flow, or was it real structured?
It was pretty structured. The whole film, there isn't a lot of ad lib or improv going on. There were a few elements, one little line, and everything else was physicality. The physicality was open to my interpretation. You know, my voice is a little bit lower at times in the movie, and that was kind of my addition that I felt Todd Ingram needed. But you can't get that off the page, you know, when you're reading it. That's just how I interpreted it. But you know, we wanted to stay very truthful to the comics and to the dialogue that's in there, because it's already really funny. So you know, there wasn't a whole lot of that. But
you mentioned a little bit of the comic. I felt like the film kind of integrated comic and Nintendo's, just kind of everything, what I call the 80s, what I kind of grew up on. Were you guys fans of Nintendo games or comics growing up? And if so, what were some of your favorites?
I was definitely a big fan of the Nintendo. Played a lot of Nintendo. I got yelled at by my mom for playing too much, way too many times. You know, back in, I think when it came out in 85 or 80, I don't remember. I got it when I was like 7 or 8. So my sister played a lot of Duck Hunt with the gun up against the TV. You know, it's a good thing we didn't break the screen with banging it against, shooting the ducks.
I definitely remember Duck Hunt. I definitely played that.
Classic.
Yeah, I mean, as a kid, I played all those kind of Nintendo, the classic, you know, Mario Brothers and stuff like that. You know, I'm not currently a big gamer, but everything that's in the movie, all of the video game references are stuff that I get, because it's all things that you remember from as a kid, and even if you're not like really into the video game world, you don't have to be to sort of get the humor of it and get the references and to have it kind of register in your mind.
You got to see the final product, the end film, for the first time. What all was going through your head as everything was kind of coming together and it was becoming just this amazing piece of, I like calling it pop culture, just an icon. Yeah. What was that like?
It was pretty mind-blowing, especially since most of us saw it for the first time at ComicCon with all of the fans and hearing them cheering and laughing through the whole thing and clapping, and we were all just in awe of the whole experience. Like, we couldn't believe that we had made something that so many people enjoyed so much, and it just was like, I'm so proud of it. It's amazing.
I trust that the movie does that for audiences where not everyone is knowledgeable about the source material, and I think it will. I think the humor and the romantic comedy element of the story transcends and works for what I'd say, I guess, a normal audience, just an audience that doesn't know about necessarily what they're getting into, and that they can have that same kind of shared experience that we had with people laughing out loud and clapping and kind of giggling in surprise because they didn't expect that something was going to happen. Because that's one of the great joys of going to the movies, I think.
And any word on a sequel? It seems to be the big Hollywood thing these days.
I don't think so. I think everyone's made it pretty clear that this is a one-time only event. Brian Lee O'Malley really wrapped up the books in a beautiful way, and the film kind of follows suit. So I think that this most likely will be the only Scott Pilgrim film out there.
Unless it makes a lot of money.
Right.
So if you
There's
really
always-
want
there's
a
always a
sequel,
chance.
everyone see it multiple times and tell everyone in the Twitter, internet-verse, Facebook universe.
Tell everyone in Twitter.
That's right.
Well, thank you. I appreciate
Twitter it out
it.
loud.